Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another historic Brawl gameplay video. This will be the last one before Lorwyn Eclipse launches next week, and seeing as Katara did so well when we played her, we have stuck with the experience counter theme. So for those who don't know, experience counters are a reasonably rare mechanic in Magic. An experience counter goes on you as the player, a bit like poison counters, as opposed to the creature. Now, on Arena, there are only 7 cards that give you experience counters, and 5 of those are from Avatar. There's one for each colour, much like Katara, and we do have other ones. One is a Eldrazi, and then we have Azuri, Claw of Progress, a 4-mana Phyrexian Elf Warrior who is a 3/3. Says whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less enters, we get an experience counter. So obviously we want to play small creatures. At the beginning of combat on your turn, we put X+1/+1 counters on target creature we control, where X is the number of experience counters we have. So you want to get Azuri down and then get as many smaller creatures down and then buff those creatures or another creature and smash in with them. So I'm not going to go through the whole deck, but I'm going to go through some of the cards. The first pile are doublers, counter doublers. Hardened Scales, a classic. If one or more +1/+1 counters we put on a creature we control, we put that many +1 or +1 counters on it instead. Innkeeper's Talent, the final level, does the same. Ozolith does the same as well, and then we can pay 2 and tap it to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Cami of Whispered Hopes does the same, but we can also tap it to add X mana of any one colour, where X is this creature's power. So this is a great creature to put the +1/+1 counters on from Azuri. Just got to massively ramp our mana. And then Earth Crystal does the same, but also reduces all our green spells by 1. And then we can pay 6 to tap it, distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 target we control. Next up, we just have some +1/+1 counter synergies, and some of them, we all know things like Bristly Bill, Landfall, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Other things like Dustshell Crawler, each creature we control with a +1/+1 counter on it has Trample. Kadumra of the West Tree does the same, but it's for modified creatures. Modified creatures are anything with a counter or equipment or aura. And then whenever a modified creature we control deals combat damage to a player, we search our library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tap, and then shuffle. That's very, very good. Incubation Druid just taps a mana, but if it has a +1/+1 counter on it, it taps for 3 mana instead, and we can adapt it by paying 5 to adapt 3. Inspiring Call, a 3 mana instant, draw a card for each creature we control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Those creatures gain indestructible at end of turn, so a good way to protect our board, but also to draw loads of cards. Marwyn is a bit similar to Cami of Whispered Hopes. We add green, tap it to add green equal to Marwyn's power, and whenever another elf we control enters, we put a counter on Marwyn. Azuri is an elf, so if we go Marwyn into Azuri, Marwyn will suddenly be a 2/2, and then we can maybe put counters on her. Rishkar, Pima, Renegade. And when it enters, we put 1+1/+1 counter on each up the 2 target creatures, and each creature we control with a counter taps for green. Terra Symbiosis, we draw cards equal to the number of +1/+1 counters we put on a creature, but we do this only once each turn. Warden of the Grove, we've seen recently. The beginning of an end step, we put a +1/+1 counter on it, and whenever another non-token creature we control enters, it endures X, where X is the number of counters on the creature. Endures mean either the creature that enters gets +1/+1, or we create an XX white spirit creature token. Champion of Lambholt's really powerful, 3 mana, 1/1, but when another creature control enters, we put a +1/+1 counter on it, and creatures with power less than the champion's power can't block creatures we control. That's all creatures. Adana's Climb, beginning of combat, but +1/+1 counter on target creature we control. Then if that creature has more than 3 of those counters, we transform it into Winged Temple of Araska. Can tap for a land that taps at 1 mana of any colour, but we can pay 3 and tap it. Target creature we control gets flying, and +X into their turn, where X is a creature's power. So it doubles its power and gives it flying. Herald of Secret Streams, creatures we control with +1/+1 counters on them can't be blocked. That's incredibly powerful. Iridescent Hornbeetle as well. Beginning of our end step, we create a 1/1 green insect creature token for each +1/+1 counter we put on creatures under our control this turn. That is every counter on every creature. So if we put 10 counters on creatures, we get 10 1/1s. Forgotten Ancient, whenever any player casts a spell, we may put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And then at the beginning of our upkeep, we may move any number of +1/+1 counters from this creature onto other creatures. Ouroboros needs no introduction. Obviously, putting counters on the Ouroboros from Azuri is bonkers. Prime Speaker Zagano is also in standard, but doesn't see much play. but I think it will from next week in Meek Attack deck, so watch out for that. I think it'll be the first deck I play. So 6 mana, 1/1, so not great stats, but it does enter with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the greatest power among other creatures we control. Then we draw cards equal to Zagana's power. Ingenious Prodigy, 1 and an X, 0/1 with Skulk, meaning it can't be blocked by creatures with greater power, and it enters with X +1/+1 counters. Beginning of our upkeep, if it has 1 and 1 counters on it, we may remove a +1/+1 counter from it if we do draw a card. And Repulsive Mutation, X and green and a blue. We put X +1/+1 counters on target creature we control. Then we counter up to 1 target spell unless its controller pays mana equal to the greatest power among creatures we control. So this can just be a counter spell, a 2 mana hard counter, but we can also grab board with it. Next up, we do just have Katara, which we've seen, and then Toph is the green experience counter card from Avatar, and it has landfall. We get an experience counter, and then when we attack, we earthbend X, where X is the number of experience counters we have. Toph doesn't have to attack, so that can be returned. It comes down if we have a lot of experience counters from Missouri. And next up, some of while our finisher generally is to get big creature smash, we do have 2 toxic creatures. Inkmoth Nexus is a land, taps for colorless, and we can pay 1, and it turns into a 1/1 Phyrexian Blinkmoth artifact creature with flying and infect. Infect deals damage in the form of poison counters, and obviously if an opponent has 10 or more poison counters, they lose the game. So this is a great creature to turn on just before combat, so we can put all the counters on it. Same with Tainted Observer, a 3 mana 2/3 flying and toxic one. And when another creature we control enters, we may pay 2 if we do proliferate, and obviously we can proliferate the experience counters as well. And the rest of the deck is just a mishmash of everything else. Obviously loads of small creatures, which are invariably ramp creatures. We want to get Azuri out as quickly as possible. Azuri being 4 mana is an issue, because essentially you want to play Azuri and then play a 1-drop on the same turn, so you don't really want to play him on curve. But we do have things like Chord of Calling and Archdruid's Charm to find creatures we need, maybe an Oroboroid to then just buff our entire board. We do have the Great Henge and Beast Whisperer, and generally very good green cards. Chittering Illuminator is an alchemy card that's really good. As long as the top card of our creature library is a creature, we can cast it. You won't see it unless it's a creature card, because it's an alchemy card. And also Ambassador of Evendo triggers Azuri, but as a landfall, whenever a land we control enters a random land card in our library, potentially gains. When this land becomes tapped, draw a card. Very, very powerful. And then loads of other mana dorks. We don't really have much removal. We have a fight in the form of Archdruid's Charm. Cyclone Rift can obviously bounce our entire opponent's time board. Haywire Might can take care of troublesome artifacts and enchantments, non-creature ones, same as Archdruid's Charm. Our only planeswalker is Nissa, Voice of Zendikar, +1 to create a 0/1 green plant creature token. Great to just always trigger Azuri once a turn. -2 to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature we control. Then we can -7 where we gain X life and draw X cards, where X is the number of lands we control. So very, very powerful ultimate. And mana base is as you expect, it's only 2 colours, so all the fetch damage, Dentine Caverns, because why wouldn't you? So that's the deck. It is obviously nowhere near as powerful as Katara. Katara is absolutely bonkers because it draws you into more cards that you can cast on your opponent's turn to get more experience counters and counter spells. And obviously it being 2 mana, it's half the price of Azuri, but Azuri is very powerful. It's a lot more powerful in proper Commander, because it's not 1/1. Obviously 1/1 Azuri can get taken out very, very quickly, and board wipes just destroy the deck. So really, really powerful, but not as powerful as Katara, not as powerful in Commander. So that's the deck. Hope you enjoy it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe. I'd like to give a shout out to my patrons, Arcadius, Michal, Thomas and Adrian. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you everyone else for your support, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. Right, we go first. Pretty good hand. Let's get down on Nissa. I would like to hold the so I would like to hold the Toph for so we could play Wooded Foothills, but obviously we didn't draw another land. No, we just need more lands. We'll get it for 1. Well, that's useless. Swinging with these 2. Well, Stoneforge Mystic's always worrying. What do they find? Yeah, the Black Blade. Well, I think we get down Kadama. Let's go there. I mean, if they want to double block Bristly Bill, they can. And let's put them on our tokens. So they're better chump blockers. You might as well get down Exploration. Now we could draw tons of cards with Nissa. Do you have trample? No, you don't. Well, let's play out Toph. You. Yeah, and let's play out the old champion. Let's put it on Kadama. Also, they do have trample. Let's buff our island. Yeah, and let's draw an absolutely boatload of cards. And then oh, we don't have green available. Well, it's annoying. Oh. 3. Why can't I cast Azuri? Why can't I cast Azuri? Oh, right, okay. We can just hold up Cyclonic Rift. Only bouncing 3 things, but never mind. And yeah, obviously we just have an 8/8 to swing in. Opponent goes first. We've got a pretty good hand. Yeah. We could clear our hand out, but then we literally have nothing for Azuri. Maybe we hold up the Shepherd just because up against obviously green-white, we're not particularly fussed about counter spells. I think we will turn 2 Arcane Signet, turn 3 Flare of Cultivation. Corn Agents, always good. Might even get that down before Azuri. Turn 2. They don't know what to do. Yep, you have a Plains. Zach Fair. So Okinek Ahau cares about creatures that have power greater than that creature's base power. So obviously Zach Fair is a 0/1, but it comes down with a counter. Wow, okay. There we go. Well done. Yeah, they have like a Snakeskin Veil or something, or Giant Growth or something, obviously buff spells for that very reason. Well, that was very annoying. We can still flare. I'll get a couple of forests. So next turn we can Azuri. Yeah. And then let's get down at Ingenious Prodigy. We can put a counter on it and immediately start drawing next turn. Well, that's also very annoying. I think we get down Forgotten Ancient. And a Badger Mole Cub. So they have more removal. We'll block you. Let's put one there. Let's Scoot Swarm. Let's Prima. Rishkart. On you. And let's, might as well put one there. We can take out Zach Fair. He doesn't have wall, does he? No, I think we do. There we go. And we hold up the Shepherd the next turn. So they're tapped out. Yep. We have a wide board. We can replay Azuri next turn. Get another experience counter by playing the Shepherd, and hopefully we draw something useful. But if not, obviously we do draw another card from the Prodigy, and we do have a big Forgotten Ancient that can be on defense and just rumble as well. Well, this is kind of a nut draw. I'm not sure what I put away with the Gemstone Cavern. Maybe the Archduke's Charm, because we can... yeah. Because we can get down the Cami. Hopefully we draw a land, that'd be good. And then Flare of Cultivation. Sacrificing the Cami. But it'd be great to draw another land to put into play with the Cami. Let's see what our opponent's got. See, Azuri is very tough. That is perfect. Let's get a forest and an island. I mean, 4 lands on turn 1. They have a Coastal Heart. We will surveil. Yeah, we'll keep you and all. Well, let's Badger Mole Cub, Earthbend the Hedge Maze, and let's Azuri. As it stands, we won't be drawing a huge amount of cards with Prime Speaker Zagana. But I would like to draw another cheap creature. Assuming Azuri survives. What do they do? Obviously, black, red, blue. Azula has plenty of removal. They do want to use it during combat, though, to trigger. Maybe that's what they're thinking about. We do have 6 mana, so could play Prime Zika Zagana. Wow, that's incredibly annoying. Alright, well, I do think we do swing in and only draw 3, unfortunately. Well, instead just Fungus can get rid of the Imbi Piranhas. Which basically we do now. And then we will, I think, get down Nissa. So we do trigger. Let's grow the Badger Mark up. And next turn we can Katara and Loam Speaker. I think let's grow our board. And let's grow our... Yeah, Badger Mark up. And we'll attack him with Azuri. I don't mind if they want to trade. The question is, how much do they have in hand? One attack with Fire Lord Azula can basically end the game. So we're interested to see what they have. Nothing, by the looks of it. They've given it a good game. You never know how that's going to go. They are down to 3. Blithely, when I played Azula, I've like wiped their board at the, in this position. Fire off some burn spells. Because they have 5 mana before playing a land. They have 6 mana. But they do essentially have to kill our entire board. Well, they get a lot of treasures. Yeah. And yeah, okay. So I have 2 treasures left. What else do you have? Well, now you have no mana left. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I'm not sure what they thought was going to happen. But goes first. So we're up against the first sliver. So it could be a slivers deck, or it could just be a generic 5-color deck. And I think we've got a keepable hand. Turn 1, Cammy. Let's put another. And then we will fetch us a Vow land. And might get down the Earth Crystal. Well, Aristic Sully is annoying. Let's see if we can hit a land drop. We can. We'll crack this so we can hold up basically our lone speaker. I imagine some kind of sweepers come in. Or a counter spell. We will decline that. Well, let's get down the champion, because like I said, I think there's going to be a sweeper coming. Oh, there is just the first liver. So yeah, we will get down Oroboroid and Kodama. We can auto-play that. So the counter on you. Boom, boom, boom. Nice and easy. We go first. We don't have any ramp. Is this too slow then? I think so. This is better. Plenty of ramp. We can explore turn 2. Well, there's a Roboroid. We won't play out the Otter. I have a Sanctum Weaver. Well, let us Marwen. And we can fetch our Surveil land. And hopefully we can get another land so we can Azuri, play the Elusive Otter, and then put some counters on Marwen. Surveil. Let's keep that then. We can play both of these. No, we can't because it's just green. Let's buff the Loam Speaker. And next turn we get down the Oroboroid. And we go slamming. Or do we? No, we don't. I mean, we can still get down the Oroboroid, but are you going to immediately dig for Sanctum of All? No, you're not. We could take out but I think we just smash. They take it. Bold. Wow. Okay. I would love to find one of our cards that give everything with counters trample. Or, well, Cyclonic Rift won't do it. Well, we won't have enough mana for Cyclonic Rift. We draw a lot of cards. I've literally never seen our Cyclonic Rift. Cyclonic Rift. Which is incredibly weird. Let's get rid of you. We need you. So, can they kill us this turn? Is that a counterspell? Well, and then, yeah, we go for the Herald. And yeah, our opponent scoops. They don't have anything. And now our creatures are unblockable.